I thought I was in love, but whole time he was planning to traffic me at 14 years old. For those who don't know, before I had my son, me and my mom's relationship was horrible. My daddy passed away at 13. After that, I kind of just was all over the place. So there was a time I was staying with my brother because I got kicked out of my mom's house. And me and my brother got into a fight, so I left the house, went to a gas station, and I sat there for hours on end. So some boy, his name was Quincy, he came to the gas station, and he was so cute. I just kept staring at him. And then he left, but he ended up coming back. And he was like, hey, what's your name? How old you is? I was 14, 15 years old. And I told him I was like 18, 17, I think. But he was like, oh, do you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, come back to my place. We can, or whatever. Okay, cool. Went back to his house. And I ended up cracking at me. And how fast of me. I don't know if I was laced or just super duper up there, but I told this man my whole life story. I cried to this man. I cuddled with this man. He wiped my tears. In that moment, he seemed like a complete angel to me. Like, he had an aura around him that was just so vibrant. You feel me? Moving in with him, I was with him for almost a month. He did everything for me. Like, he brought me stuff. Now that I think about it, he didn't do shit but crack me. I was so fatherless and so sad that I felt like he was doing right by me. Now, as we were staying with him, we were also staying with his cousin. His cousin's name was, I think, Big Boy, Fat Man, something like that. He was a bigger guy. One day, all of a sudden, the boy Quincy, he told me like, oh, some niggas are after me. He showed me text messages and it was like, oh, we know where you stay at. We finna come get you. So Quincy was like, I'm gonna go hide out at a hotel because I don't want them to hurt you. Like, I need to get away from here. And I was sad because he was trying to leave me with the big boy and I didn't really feel him for real. You feel me? Like, even in friend wise, I didn't feel him. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the hotel. He left. Cool. After like 3 days, big boy tried to hit on me. He tried to crack me and I was like, you're not my type. Like, you're my boyfriend's homeboy. I don't want you, whatever. Cool. So I ended up using his phone because I didn't have a phone. My brother had broke my phone. And I'm going to text my brother because at this point I want my brother to come get me. I'm texting him from Text Now. I go to Text Now. Them same messages that Quincy showed me was on Big Boy's phone. So it's like Big Boy was texting Quincy saying like, oh, we know where you at, da-da-da. So in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck? Is he backdooring him? Like, I called Quincy. I'm like, your homeboy is the one who sent the messages. Like, he's like, nah, bro. I'm showing him proof. He's like, nah, bro. I'm telling Quincy that Big Boy tried to mess with me, and Quincy did not believe me. He was like, oh, Big Boy said you effed him, da-da-da-da. You weird as fuck. You need to get the fuck out. They kicked me out. I didn't have shit but the clothes on my back, my fake puff, my pair of Crocs in my hand, and my sneakers. But I wasn't getting out. Quincy threatened to unalive me. And bitch, I ran. But where his house was, he had a homeboy. He was an older man and he was actually really, really sweet. So I knew where he stayed at because we had walked there before. That's where I ran. I ran into the neighborhood, ran to his house, and he seemed like he was just so like, what's wrong? Come inside, what's wrong? After talking with him, Quincy and his other cousin and Big Boy pulled into the neighborhood. It's like, how did y'all know I was here? You know? And he dabbed the dude up. I went to Quincy and I was like, can I just get the phone I was using? Can you let me back inside? Like, I had nowhere to go. And Quincy pushed me away from the car. He took the shoes I had in my hand. So now all I have is the clothes on my back and the shoes in my hand. And they sped off. So for a minute, we had sat outside. We talked. I was like, can I use your phone to call my brother? My brother was not picking up the phone. He was like, I don't want everybody in my sister's business, so come in the garage. The garage, he closed the garage about this much. So like this part was open, the rest was closed. And he was like, what happened? I'm telling him what happened. Mind you, this is an older man. This man had to be like 40 years old, long dress. I did not know his name. He said, you know, if you want to stay at their house, you gotta do something for them. And he means like in a sexual way, sexual acts. And I was like, I don't want to do that. He was like, what, you don't know how to? And I was like, I just don't want to do that. And y'all, we were sitting on the couch. I'm right here, he's right there, so like the middle part is open. He slides over and puts his hand on my thigh. He was like, let me teach you, bitch. When I tell you I hopped up, the way my big fat ass pushed that fucking garage open and slid through, bitch, I ran for my motherfucking life. I ran. I ended up going back to the gas station. I called my brother. My brother came and got me. He just kept asking me like what was wrong. I never told him what happened. Even to this day, the Quincy boy tries to hit me up. He knows my real age now, but I just feel like that's so weird. And I just like, what if I did not run? What would have happened? Because there's no way that you set up a thing where you said you were gonna get unalived. Whole time you were trying to give me to your homeboys. That's trafficking in my eyes. That was a grown ass man.
Story time about the time I met a predator while I was working alone. For a little backstory, I work at a kiosk at a mall. It's the kind of kiosk that's like a square, so I'm in the middle and people can walk all around the outside. But because of this, there's no back rooms, I don't have any coworkers, I'm all by myself all the time. Which is usually fine, but in a case like this story also takes place my first week working, so I was pretty nervous still, and I was still trying to be extra nice to customers because I was new. This night in particular, it's like 5 p.m. There's not many people in the mall. I noticed this guy looking at the chocolates in my display case for a pretty long time. I don't think much of it. A lot of people come and stop and look at what I have to sell. But I was aware of him because he was there for a while and he did keep glancing at me. But he leaves and I don't see him for about an hour when he comes back. Again, he's looking at the chocolates in the display case for a really long time, but he keeps looking up at me, so I keep thinking he needs help. But every time I ask, he's like, no, I'm good. But he continues to like look at me more than the chocolate. Eventually he does pick a chocolate and he comes to pay. And most people, while they're paying, you know, they look at their money, they look at what they're doing. But for him, he was just staring into my soul the entire time he was doing the transaction. So I was already like kind of thrown off by this. Like, what are you doing, sir? And it only goes downhill from here. Also, I forgot to mention, this guy is like 40. Like, he could be my father. He's like bald and very clearly at least twice my age. He finishes paying and I think he's gonna be on his merry way because I'm already like, all right, that's enough, you can leave now. But instead, he looks me dead in the eye and goes, would you like to get together with me sometime? He said it very softly and very like, almost slyly. I don't know how to describe it. Just never heard someone speak like that who like, had good intentions. Like, people don't normally speak like how he was talking to me. Also, what? Why would you ask that to someone who looks like a minor? So maybe my customer servicey self was like, I'm all set. Have a great day. Partially because I was so caught off guard and partially because I was scared. So I think he's gonna leave now because what else could you have to say? You just got rejected. And he goes, I get the feeling I'm making you uncomfortable. And I kind of just laughed like, like, yes, you are. And you'd think if a normal person felt like they were making someone uncomfortable, they would, you know, stop. They would leave. They would evacuate. But no, why would he do that? So now he's just standing back a little bit from the register, just, again, watching me, kind of eyeing me up and down. And he goes, I bet you get a lot of attention from guys working at a place like this, don't you? I was like, no, not really. Like, what? But he doesn't stop there. He then proceeds to say, well, dressed like that, every guy's thinking about your body, even if he doesn't come and say it. I literally could not believe my ears. Like, I thought I heard him wrong. And for reference, I was wearing a t-shirt and long pants. This was my outfit. Like, you cannot see anything. Finally, he's getting ready to leave. And as his final goodbye, he decides to place the chocolate he bought very intentionally back on the counter and walks away. At the time, I thought he was doing this so he had an excuse to come back and harass me later because he forgot it. But now I think he was just doing it more as a statement of like, yeah, I didn't want this anyways. I was only coming over just to harass you. I only came over here to ask you out. Although he didn't actually do anything to me, I was so scared by this interaction. And I just felt so disgusting because I knew he was just looking at me like meat the whole time. I have never felt more like prey in my entire life. Like, I literally felt like I was a caged animal while he was circling around me. I wish I could describe better the way he was talking and the way he was looking, but just understand that, like, people have said strange things to me before, but I've just never gotten such a deeply unsafe feeling from a person. And before you ask, yes, I told my parents, I told my boss, I got numbers for security in case he comes back. Also, I know I probably should have handled this very differently. Now that I've had time to think about it, I can think of many things I could say that would be more assertive, that would stand up for myself better. But you also have to remember I was alone. There was no one around. I was nervous because it was my first week. I was nervous because he was scary. I didn't want to say something that might upset him, that may cause him to either do something to me in the moment, or to stay and watch me and stalk me. especially because I was closing soon, and to close I have to go back out through a dark alley in the mall and go out to this little like alleyway where the dumpsters are that's very dark. There's no one around. So I was scared that if I upset him, he would follow me or do something bad. But thankfully he didn't. All was well. The story could have been a lot worse. But I really did feel so unsafe, and I really, really believe that he had absolutely terrible intentions, even though he didn't act on them. But luckily, I'm safe, and he only came back once after that, and he never said anything more to me.
How I got pregnant at 15. Okay, so basically, I have this friend. To this day, she's still my friend. But she had this cousin, and that time we were gonna go to this quince, and I told her like I didn't want to go alone because she was gonna go with her boyfriend, and I told her I don't want to go alone. Like, do you have somebody that wants to go with me? And she was like, yeah, I have this cousin, da 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 da. And I was like, perfect, like tell him to go. So we arrived to the quince, and I think he had arrived with them. I'm not sure, I don't remember. But yeah, like we were just there, you know. It was my first time meeting him as well. So I didn't know what to like expect from him. The only thing I knew is how he looked like, cause I was like, you better not send somebody ugly. And then so basically we were just there. The quince had ended and he had brought me home. And then from there we were just texting, you know, casual. And then my friend was having this sleepover, and I told my mom it was her little sister's birthday sleepover, something like that. And so I told my mom, and my mom was like always the type like, no te vas a quedar, like you never know what's gonna happen, like this and that. So I was like, I don't think she will let me. And she did. And like to this day, I'm like, Ma, why did you let me? Like don't get me wrong, I love my baby. Like that girl is my world. But I'm like, girl, like I got pregnant at such a young age. I was a sophomore going into junior in high school. And yeah, but I went and she was like, oh, like what if I invite my cousin? And I was like, and like I wasn't gonna like say no, because one, it's her cousin, two, it was her house. So he gets there and we're just there. And at that time, it was like when I was getting like, and so I was really, and yeah. So it happened. We slept in this other room that my friend had. And then we woke up and I came home like nothing had happened. And then my mom noticed I had a hickey. So I was like, nah, like whatever, like, girl, it's just a hickey, like, come on. So yeah, like we were still texting, me and him, we were still texting. And 1 week passes and I start to feel like really weird. Like, I don't know, like just my body felt like different. Like, I don't know what it was, but yeah. So I don't know, something in me told me to take a pregnancy test. And I took it and it was negative. So I was like, okay, like I'm good, like this and that. But something told me to like wait 1 more week to take the pregnancy test. So I wait the other week and it comes out positive. So I ended up telling the guy who is now my baby daddy. And he tells me, I already have a pill for you. And I told him, I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, I'm not gonna take the pill. Like, no. And I just like kept telling him like, no, like I'm not gonna take the pill, like this and that. And he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be here for you. And yeah, like that happened, and my mom ended up finding out. Of course she was gonna find out, because we had our like periods, you know, when like the periods sync. So she would get her period first, and then it was me. And she had already gotten hers, and then she asked me like, have you gotten your period? But at this time I already knew I was pregnant, and I was like, no. And so my mom tells me, I don't know, she was like, you better not be pregnant, like this and that. And I was like, and I just stayed quiet. But like before I was pregnant, she would tell me like, mention pregnancy. I was like, no ma, like not que ver, like no, right? Well, this time I wasn't telling her no. I was like, I'm like, because I'm gonna have to tell her at one point. So I wasn't telling her no. And she was like, ¿por qué no me estás diciendo que no? And I just stayed quiet. And then she was like, you better not be pregnant. And she's like, are you pregnant? And I was like, yes. And my mom was on her way home from work. So I was like, fuck, like, you know, it was really, really bad. And then yeah. So like, she gets home and she starts telling me like, who's the dad, like this and that. And mind you, it was just a one-time thing. He was like my sniggling for one day. And then I tell her, and she's like, how old is he? At that time I was 51 backwards, and he was 18. And she was like, 18? And I was like, yep. And she wanted to contact him, like to talk to him and everything. And they ended up talking, and he was just like telling my mom like, yes, I'm gonna be here for her, like this and that, like, you know. And also he had another baby with another girl, but I did not know until his cousin, which is my friend, she had told me like, oh yeah, like he has another baby. And I was like, another baby? And I think that's why he told me to take the pill, because he already had another baby. And like, to have two like babies, like, and also different baby mamas. So basically that's what happened. My mom did get mad because I was 15. I still had many years ahead of me, but I feel like she learned to accept it because she had no other. I was gonna keep the baby either way, like, and I feel like Diosito te manda bendiciones, like, to better your life and to, because at that time I was bad, like, so I feel like God gave me that blessing so I can, you know, open my eyes and stop messing around and what I was doing. But yeah, my baby is 2. She's gonna be 2 in October, and I couldn't be more happier now that I have my baby. But basically that is like how everything happened. Everything happened so quick. My mom now loves my baby. So every time she's like, ay, mi bebé, and I'm like, girl, I'm like, who was mad at? I was like, I always tell her like, pero quién estaba enojada? But she's like, ay, ya, cállate. But basically that is how I found out I was pregnant and how I told my mom.
If you or anyone have been in contact with a girl named Janelle Pedra, Janelle Hayes, or Janelle Melendez in the last, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, or at any point in your life, I beg you to please stop and
watch this video. Let me explain. I promise you, you're going to want to see this. So the story dates back all the way to January 2024 when Janelle Hayes, at the time is who I thought I was speaking to, followed me on TikTok and then proceeded to follow me on Instagram the same day. The next day, I proceeded to follow her back, and that was that. Not once did I message her, and not once did she message me. For an entire year, we were just mutual friends, but we never did anything about it. All the way up until January, I think it was 24th of this year, I reached out to her after being at a party with some friends, and she answered me immediately within, I want to say, maybe like 5 minutes of me messaging her, and the rest was history. I'm going to pop up pictures and stuff as I speak. After messaging her for 2 to 3 days, I asked her if she wanted FaceTime. I knew that she lived about 2.5 hours away from me, and the reality of just driving to her and hanging out the first time just wasn't going to happen yet. And so she was super up for it. That night, I recorded a video. I'll put a snippet in here. This is for future Maya and possibly future Janelle. I'm about to FaceTime her for the first time, where I thought that, this potentially was someone who was going to be serious and constant in my life because of how great the connection was in the first 3 days. And as lesbian as that sounds, I know, but I promise you, the connection that I felt so real that I was convinced that this could very well be someone that I could pursue down the road for real. I didn't think that I was going to marry her yet. I didn't think that I loved her yet, and I didn't really have strong feelings for her, but my gut and intuition was like, this is someone who's going to stick or is going to have an impact in your life. And I didn't think she was going to have this kind of an impact in my life. So that night, we didn't FaceTime. She gave me a bunch of excuses. She said she was cleaning up the house and that she would call me in a little bit. 3 hours had gone by, and it was about 11:30, 12 at night. That night, I also had gotten completely ghosted from the job I was working at or volunteering at. I wasn't getting paid. I wasn't making any money. So the next day, I quit my job, and I let her know, hey, I just quit my job. Currently have no job, no income, nothing. And I was terrified because I knew I was going to start talking to somebody, and you can't start talking to somebody as an adult without an income. So about a week after that, she had convinced me to come down there and hang out with her the first time because how sad I was. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to do anything. I laid in bed all day. I was super sad because the place that I worked at was truly a place I loved being at every single day. It was something I looked forward to, and it got me up and it got me moving. And so I was sad. I was not okay, and she didn't really understand, and she didn't really care. I didn't see it as a red flag at first because of how soon and how early things were. Then we proceeded to hang out. I drove down to go see her in Moreno Valley. She had me pick her up outside of a complex of an address she gave me. She was waiting in her car already. I didn't have to wait for her. She was already downstairs. And as much as I could have seen that as a red flag, I thought, she was waiting. She wants to see me. She's been waiting in the car. Like, it's not weird. It's not out of the ordinary. I took her to Huntington Beach. We went to Huntington Beach and we watched the sunset that day for about 5 minutes. We walked the water, picked up a few shells, and then headed back. She wanted to go back home already. Mind you, I live 2.5 hours north of her. And so when you drive 2.5 hours to go see somebody, you anticipate to see them all day. I wasn't anticipating to only see her for an hour and a half. While we're walking at the beach, she gets a phone call from her quote-unquote best friend, Jaden. And at this time, I didn't know who Jaden was. I just knew that she had this friend named Jaden. I didn't do my research, and I didn't care to because I trusted her. She made me feel comfortable, so I really, truly, internally trusted everything that she said to me. She was sweet, she was genuine with me, she was soft with me, and she looked at me like I actually mattered. And so I didn't see any reason to not believe what was coming out of her mouth. As we were walking back to the car, she was still on the phone, probably on the phone for 5 minutes at this point. And I was not frustrated, but just a little confused. And so I had grabbed my phone and quickly recorded a cute video of us holding hands and walking. Because I had a feeling that I was going to need something like that down the road. It's not a crazy video, but it's something. Then I asked her if she was hungry, if she wanted anything to eat. She said no. She said she needed to get back because her friend needed to fill out paperwork for work. This friend being Jaden. She then explained to me that Jaden was her roommate who she shared this townhome with, and that Jaden was her partner in her EMT rig, and that Jaden was an EMT, and that she was a paramedic. And then that's how they met, and they've been friends for forever, and that they're never going to not be friends. Let me emphasize that. I don't know why I didn't listen to that at the beginning, because she made that very clear. After we got in the car and left Huntington, she said she wanted ice cream, so we stopped up the street real quick for some ice cream. We drove all the way back from Huntington to Moreno Valley, which was an hour drive there and back. So not only did I drive 2.5 hours to her, I drove an hour from her to the beach, back to her, another hour, dropped her off. She immediately left. She did not wait. She did not wait to watch me drive off. She did not go inside the house. She immediately got in the car and took off. I trusted that what she was going to go do was what she was going to go do. I got in my car and I drove home. After getting home, she sends me all these messages about how she's so happy about how the first date went and how, I'm the love of her life basically, and that like she sees things working out, and that you just love bombing me, and I didn't even see it. Then that following Sunday, she came up here, and I was super hesitant to her coming up here because I don't typically have people come visit me at my house before I meet them because I live with my family. It's just a huge thing for me. I don't like people just coming over and meeting my family. That's not something that I want to be known for, is just to have people over all the time. 2 people have only ever met my parents and my brothers. And so I was standoffish, not knowing, what was really going on, because at this point, although things were really good and she was really good at convincing me that everything was fine when I did question what was wrong, in the back of my mind, I started to realize that there was just something up. I didn't know what. I couldn't put my finger on it, but just something wasn't adding up. The day that she was supposed to come up here was on a Sunday. She didn't come up here off rip. Like, she didn't just get in the car and come up here. It was on a Sunday. I can't remember if it was on a Sunday. So that following Sunday, she came up here after lying to me. That morning, she woke up and she said that she was getting ready to come head up here and spend time with me for the day. She was super excited, and we were on the phone. Then she got off the phone with me abruptly